motion like a hurricane. Sets the ground in motion, bitch, you're gonna feel the pain. He swings that pimp hand and knocks bitch Sandy down. He's the monster king of pimps, Sandy doesn't fuck around. He's Pimpzilla, and he wants his motherfucking money. He's Pimpzilla, yeah, motherfucker. Wall Street was a greedy bitch. They kept Pimpzilla's cash, and he's come time to collect every dime from that sweet ass. He laid his tail down to block that bitch ass path, and cut slap like a cyclone with hellfire pimp hand aftermath. Oh yeah, he's Pimpzilla, and he wants his motherfucking money. He's Pimpzilla, yeah, motherfucker. Call the Coast Guard, they call the Navy, they call the Army, and some smooth bitch named Gravy. Pimpzilla through fire like a powerful high. Made Wall Street expired like a squirrel hits a tire. But the people thought he was heaven sent as he digested the world's 1%. Oh yeah, yeah, motherfucker. He's Pimpzilla, and he wants his motherfucking money. He's Pimpzilla, yeah, motherfucker. He's Pimpzilla, and he wants his motherfucking money. He's Pimpzilla, yeah, motherfucker.
Riding through the city with a beat in the step. King Kong's on the move with a whole lot of pep. Godzilla by his side, they're the talk of the town. When these titans team up, they never back down. They're moving, they're grooving in the city lights. They're proving that when kings and gods align, the world's their stage, it's a time to shine. Shake it up, break it down, feel the vibe. Godzilla and Kong, the ultimate tribe. Grooving through the city, they're the funky lords. With every beat, their legend soars. They're the kings of the night, setting the scene with a roar and a stomp. They're the machine, funkin' out, soul and in, they're the story. Kong and Godzilla in all their glory. Godzilla's got the fire breathing down the street. With Kong, they're unstoppable, can't be beat. They stomp to the rhythm, the bass is loud. Together they're ruling, feeling proud. But wait, there's a twist in this funky tale. Godzilla's got ambitions that just can't fail. With a back and so slick, he takes the stage, leaving Kong in the shadows. Feel the fray, shake it up, break it down, feel the vibe. Godzilla's in the spotlight, make no mistake. He's here to funk it up, steal the show. With soulful beats, he's the star of the flow. Ooh, step into the light, the power of the night. Kong and Godzilla, oh yeah. Rhythm's gonna thrill ya, thrill ya. Harmony's rising, Now sometimes in the night I get to thinking about your life, and I must confess this true. You're a sad little boy with a mother you implore to wipe your ass and do your fighting for you. Now sometimes I must admit I get to thinking about a ditch, a little place I'd like to take you to stay. But believe me when I say it's just a wish inside my brain. So don't you worry none, you're safe for today. All I'd like to say is that I hope you die one day. That's what keeps me going all the time. And when they put you in your grave, I do a dance and celebrate. And then the sun will wear a smile and shine. La la da, la la da, la da 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 da, la da If I could kill you myself, I'd put you down where you lie, and the coppers would hunt me down, and all I would do is smile. You may wonder if I'm doing alright. You may wonder if I've lost my mind. But believe me when I say I'm doing fine. It's just a boy inside the bubble who And as I look into your face, I take a hammer to your brain, and then I wait for them to take me away. La la da, la la da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. La la da, la la da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da.
Your nails are under my skin, you're always scratching at the right place. Yeah, you always act like we're friends, but then you go and treat me sideways. Your touch, it feels like nice, but gives me a rush I can't deny. I don't care how much you leave me dry, 'cause I wait until the next full moon. You're like a wolf in the dark of the night, and I'm hunting you. You took my soul in the blink of an eye, but I'll come for you. You're like a wolf in the dark of the night, and I'm hunting you. You took my soul I got problems. You have a night on the town, and I'm stuck waiting for the next one. Your touch, it feels like nice, but gives me a rush I can't deny. I don't care how much you leave me dry, 'cause I'll wait until the next full moon. You're like a wolf in the dark of the night, and I'm hunting you. You took my soul in the blink of an eye, but I'll come for you. You're like a wolf in the dark of the night, and I'm hunting you. You took my soul in the blink of an eye, but I'll come for you. You're like a wolf in the dark of the night, and I'm hunting you. You took my soul in the blink of an eye, but I'll come for you. Yeah, yeah. You're like a wolf in the dark of the night, and I'm hunting you. You took my soul in the blink of an eye, but I'll come for you. You're like a wolf in the dark of the night, and I'm hunting you. You took my soul in the blink of an eye, but I'll come for you. I'll come for you.
Riding through the city with a beat in the step. King Kong's on the move with a whole lot of pep. Godzilla by his side, they're the talk of the town. When these titans team up, they never back down. They're moving, they're grooving in the city lights. They're proving that when kings and gods align, the world's their stage, it's a time to shine. Shake it up, break it down, feel the vibe. Godzilla and Kong, the ultimate tribe. Grooving through the city, they're the funky lords. With every beat, their legend soars. They're the kings of the night, setting the scene with a roar and a stomp. They're the machine, funkin' out, soaring in, they're the story. Kong and Godzilla in all their glory. Godzilla's got the fire breathing down the street. With Kong, they're unstoppable, can't be beat. They stomp to the rhythm, the bass is loud. Together they're ruling, feeling proud. But wait, there's a twist in this funky tale. Godzilla's got ambitions that just can't fail. With a backing so slick, he takes the stage, leaving Kong in the shadows. Feel the phrase, shake it up, break it down, feel the vibe. Godzilla's in the spotlight, make no mistake. He's here to funk it up, steal the show. With soulful beats, he's the star of the flow. Ooh, step into the light. The power of the night. Kong and Godzilla. Oh yeah. Rhythm's gonna thrill ya. Thrill ya. Harmony's rising. Rising up.
Now you might pray to God, y'all, but I like Lucifer best. Sunday school is a place for fools. It's hot in hell, but the devil's cool. Don't keep Satan waiting. Don't keep Satan waiting. So don't just sit there, join the club. Sell your soul to Beelzebub.
Hey, everybody, it is I, Count Jackula, your favorite satanic streamer, asking you what is up. I see Flashman is here, Cat is here, Aspiring Devil is here, Jay Tilton, Steps 8, Giovanni Alvarez, and Perry Aegis is here to start us out. Let the sin begin. Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. Hey, Sus Marimba. Hey, Jesus Franco. What a fucking last couple of goddamn days it has goddamn fucking been. Clearly, I'm not happy about it, and I would be pretty fucking shocked if anybody in the pit was. First, we got ourselves a failed assassination attempt on Trump, which I'm sure is only going to do him good in the polls. We'll see if that translates to the fucking ballot box. Things ain't looking good because the high courts have decided that, no, he doesn't. Trump isn't, like, criminally liable for hiding and dispersing state secrets. And that our man Jack did not have the right to do the investigation, to which I am like, motherfucker. Fuck you. Motherfucker, fuck you. So what? We got kings now, it sounds like. Get to be king for 4 to 8 years, and then you're just allowed to do anything with state secrets. Yeah, that's not going to be a terrible idea. Yeah, and the decision came from a judge he appointed, who I am just, fuck you. You know. At this point, no. No, and at this point, I do believe that fucking Trump is appointed by God, and that God is a motherfucker. A piece of shit. An asshole that fucking took credit for creation. And has just been fucking with us ever since. Screw this guy. Fuck that dude. Gotta be kidding me. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Love is supposed to win, god damn it. Love is supposed to win, but no. They have a god of hate. God of anger and wrath and hate. Because he's a fucking storm god got lucky. God loves Trump but not school children. Well, yeah, haven't you noticed? Haven't you fucking noticed? I don't give a shit when kids die. Oh, unless they're unborn, then they care. The minute you come out, they don't give two fucking shits because, like, they're all corrupted by the evil of the world. And so they don't care anymore. Not even a little. The fucking take away all your benefits. Take away your 401k. They'll take everything. They'll get it. They'll get it all. You know, they'll get it all at this point. You know, and we'll just see how long we're going to put up with it. Yeah, the Republican picked J.D. Vance. Yep. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in the slightest. No, they are fuckers who worship an evil god. You know, oh, and you better follow him. Otherwise, you're going to get smited. You know, all because there was a black president. All because people couldn't fucking be cool about pronouns. All because white women were afraid of getting raped in fucking bathrooms by trans people. Fuck you. Fuck you. But yeah. Yeah, no. Trump's chosen one. He's just the chosen one, and I hate him. Darth Vader was a chosen one too, and he was a piece of shit. Of course he did, but it doesn't fucking matter because they're all fucking. It's all whoever sucks the biggest billionaire cock over in that country, over in that fucking party. That's all it is. That's all it is. Well, you thought that they were actual politicians? No. Oh, you got to remember everything that they said about the Democratic Party is pure projection. You know, so they're all sellouts who fucking, you know, worship an evil god and, you know, are elites and, you know, everything that they blame the Democrats for. It's them. It's always them. It's always been them. They've always done it. They've always done it the most. By a country goddamn mile, they're the ones who do it the most. It's not even the same fucking game. It ain't even the same league. It ain't even the same fucking sport. Yeah, he cares only for attention and celebrity, and as long as the priests are allowed to say that he is fucking divinely chosen, then I guess he is. Then I guess he is. Because they're allowed to do that now. I never Trumper being his VP choice is sad and hilarious. I find it all too predictable. Like I said, it's whoever sucks the best billionaire cock. So apparently J.D. Vance gives an amazing blowjob. He's young, he's stupid, he's sycophantic, and he hates all the right people. Except for Trump, because you can get paid to serve him. So the worst kind of whores, the ones with no standards. They see The Handmaid's Tale as a manual, right? Of course they do. Of course they do. Of course they do. They'll try to do it. They'll try to do it too. You know, they'll make laws about what women can wear in public, and then they'll make laws about what women can wear in their own home, and what they can wear in videos online. You just watch. You just fucking watch. They'll do it. They already made porn illegal in several states. Illegal. They made it illegal. I'm not even worried about a moral high ground at some point. I'm just worried about survival. It's no moral high ground anymore. The bar's too low. The high ground is anywhere they ain't. And that's it. Let's be real. They're going after porn to get back at Stormy Daniels as a scapegoat. Oh, I'm sure that's part of it. And the rest is just along for the ride. You know, because porn is evil and is destroying the morality of the fucking country. Not a president who encourages hate. No. See, we just don't understand God's plan. We don't understand God's plan. I'm like, no, I understand it. I just hate it. I get this plan. I get this part of the plan. Whole point is to put themselves on top and put everybody they don't like on the bottom so they don't have to feel like their life sucks because of their own decisions. The gun is good, the penis is evil. Exactly. And the vagina, well, that's so evil, it's not even worth mentioning now, is it? Yeah, they'll put prayer in schools. They'll put prayer in schools and they'll fucking encourage kids who fucking bring in a copy of the Koran or anything else that, well, maybe the shooter should concentrate on them. They'll do it. They'll do it. They'll say it. It'll happen. Yeah, exactly. Now you got it, Perry. God's plan is to give you crippling gender dysphoria and then send you to hell for it. Yep. You know, because a God will, a God can choose the unrighteous to fulfill his word, but that also kind of implies that he will punish the innocent to do it as well. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Malcedon. They see porn as a medical health crisis. They'll use whatever words. They'll do anything. They'll do anything. They broke their promise to God. They broke their promise to the real God. Broke their promise to the greater family of humanity. That's what God was supposed to be. They broke their promise to it. They broke their word. They bought into that shit when it was so clearly wrong. No, it doesn't require faith to do what they do. Just fear. Just fear and hatred. They don't need faith. Faith is not something they are capable of. Because if they had faith, they would have faith in humanity. They would have faith that everything is going to basically turn out okay. Not faith that God was going to destroy the world at some arbitrary date that keeps moving. That's not faith. It's not anywhere even close to it. Faith is rare. And it's work. It's work. They've been told faith is easy. It's not. It is not easy. Faith comes from within. It comes from within. Well, the one thing I'll say about this, the one piece of good at the end of the rainbow, is that this is the Republican Party's last. This is their last. Can't run a country this big like a kingdom. It won't last. The societies and cultures that last are the multicultural ones. Those are the ones that last thousands of years. They don't want that. So this is basically their end. But it might not end with the election. It could go on for several more years. But it will be their end. There's no way it isn't. But I do wonder, when they eventually lose, and they will, of that there is no doubt. How will they go? Probably not pretty. Might try to salt the earth. I'm wondering if Trump is going to try to nuke America. Because if he becomes president, you know that's going to come up. It's going to come up. And he's ego-driven and stupid. Well, if I'm anywhere near it, I hope I'm in the zone that gets obliterated immediately. But we'll see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the concept of white people will have to be destroyed at this point. it's gonna suffer some form of destruction. No, Jack. Well, I'm not saying it's not gonna happen. I'm just saying I ain't looking forward to it. And I keep trying to hang on a minute. So get the funky groove back on for a second.
Riding through the city with a beat in the step. King Kong's on the move with a whole lot of pep. Godzilla by his side, they're the talk of the town. When these titans team up, they never back down. They're moving, they're grooving in the city lights. They're proving that when kings and gods align, the world's their stage, is a time to shine. Shake it up, break it down, feel the vibe. Godzilla and Kong, the ultimate tribe. Grooving through the city, they're the funky lords. With every beat, their legend soars. They're the kings of the night, setting the scene with a roar and a stomp. They're the machine, funkin' out, soul and in, they're the story. Kong and Godzilla in all their glory. Godzilla's got the fire breathing down the street. With Kong, they're unstoppable, can't be beat. They stomp to the rhythm, the bass is loud. Together they're ruling, feeling proud. But wait, there's a twist in this funky tale. Godzilla's got ambitions that just can't fail. With a back and so slick, he takes the stage, leaving Kong in the shadows. Feel the fray, shake it up, break it down, feel the vibe. Godzilla's in the spotlight, make no mistake. He's here to funk it up, steal the show. With soulful beats, he's the star of the flow. Ooh, step into the light. The power of the night. Kong and Godzilla. Oh yeah. Rhythm's gonna thrill ya. Harmony's rising. Rising up in the skyline. Synchronizing. Synchronize. Funk and soul unite. Unite. In the city's heart they ignite.
Yeah, that guy was exactly some jive turkey. He's exactly some jive turkey. Fuck that dude. Well, it could be going a lot better, Blonde Artist. Not gonna. Oh, you guys get silly in here? You'll do nothing? Well, what you gonna do? Cannibal Kiddo, what you gonna do? See, we've all fucking lived with the knowledge that we could be killed. That we could die in conflict, war, protest, all that shit. What about you? What about you? See, you could say you are prepared for death as much as you want, but the fact that you're in here causing shit means clearly you are not. Every day I wake up and I resolve myself to that possibility. It's not happy. I wouldn't say I enjoy it, but I think it's necessary. Am I prepared for death? About as prepared as I'll ever be. I guess we'll see. The future tells all, doesn't it? Am I racist? Well, I don't know that I'm completely not racist, but I do know this. Because I think every human being is a person. And I believe that every person is entitled to equal rights under the law. You're in here talking tough for no reason, just angry with all your privilege. No one's scared of you. You'd be surprised. Like, I know I was. I didn't think I was a very scary guy. But I have had a lot of people tell me that I am. So, eh. And yeah, I am talking tough. Am I good for it? Well, we'll just have to find out. Yeah, it's going to be a bad one for you because you're white. Well, what have you done about that? You're worried because you're white? Wow. That has got to be the most cowardly thing I've heard in at least a week. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to civil war. It'll be nothing but tragedy. Can't change your skin color, but you can change your attitude. You could deal with that fear. You could deal with that fear of what people will do to you because you're white. You really can. Dilemma of the ages, teriyaki chicken or tacos? Teriyaki. Unless you're diabetic, I'd go with teriyaki. If you're diabetic, I'd go with tacos. Well, white people rule a lot. But I know what they're really afraid of. China. You're afraid of China. And you know why you're afraid. because they understand how teamwork works. And you don't. They understand the power of thousands of people working in tandem. Americans do not. Now, you don't need to be worried about a land war or some sort of attack. You're not going to need to worry about that. Not for a long time. So many other things have to happen before you need to worry about that. But as far as all these rich people and all their dollars, yeah, you better be scared. It's leaving. America's money is leaving because the rich guys are stealing everything and moving it overseas. And they'll get it, and they'll do it. And you'll, you live in a poor neighborhood? You live in a poor neighborhood and you're white? Aw. It's too bad you don't know how community works. Now, isn't it? Probably stay in your small apartment, afraid of your neighbors, afraid of what they'll do, what they'll take, what they'll say. Your anger directed at them because you can't get out. No way to live. No way to live. Bet you people around you don't live that way. It's not how they live. You can't have guns. You can't have guns. And why is that? Why is it you can't have guns? I can have a gun. He'd probably rob you for meth money. Well, how many hours do you spend literally crying a day? Sometimes an hour. How many hours a day do you spend going into people's streams and fucking trying to start shit? I am stoked for Nosferatu Blonde Artist. Thank you for asking. But you guys do have victim mentality. Well, if we have victim mentality, what is it you thinking you got? Well, no, you got this white girl over here saying that she's worried about her neighbors killing her because she lives in a poor neighborhood. That sounds like victim mentality to me. You get right down to it, you know. I think that that's pretty big victim mentality there. Crying ain't what make you a victim. You're mistaking tears for weakness. It's not the same thing. You're the one I currently see crying. Well, let's see what a tough dude would say. Huh?
Your middle name is Macho, but I'm wondering if you ever cry. Has Macho Man ever cried?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh. It's okay for macho men to show every emotion available right there, you know, because I've cried 1,000 times, I'm gonna cry some more. But I've soared with the eagles and I've slithered with the snakes and I've been everywhere in between. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. There's one guarantee in life, and that there are no guarantees, yeah. And understand this. Yeah. Nobody likes a quitter. Nobody said life was easy, so if you get knocked down, take the standing 8 count, get back up, and fight again. And you're a macho maniac. Dig it.
I think I'll agree with Macho Man Randy Savage. You're a victim of D's nuts? Well, my nuts are pretty mighty. Pretty mighty. So I've been told. Dig it. True words from the Macho Man. Slim Jims all around. That's right, Johnny Too Dangerous. That's right. Anyone who can admit they cried but got up and fought again can have a Slim Jim. Ghost sucks, by the way. See, now we just know you got bad taste in music, too. Oh, Macho Man wasn't crying because your feelings got hurt. Oh, he wasn't now. What else you gonna cry about? You show me a type of crying that doesn't involve your feelings. And I'll show you a liar. Oh, I'm sure he knows what pain is. Haven't met the troll yet that didn't hate themselves. Haven't met the troll yet that didn't think that being an asshole is all that they fucking had to offer anybody. Helps them feel like they're in charge, that they're on top, that they're worth something. I've met people who are fearless, truly fearless. Like brain damage fearless. Literally cannot feel fear. They don't act like that. Too busy doing what they want to do. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, they don't bother with this, they don't bother with bullying because they're not afraid. They're not afraid. And because they don't feel fear, they're secure in that. You know, the fearless do not troll. Too bored to troll? I'd take up another hobby then. No. Take up another hobby. Find something to give your life meaning. Find something you love. Find a person you love. That's the real medicine for that. Stained glass is cool. I like stained glass. Looks really nice when the light comes through. And even when it doesn't, it still looks nice. Self-loathing. I would give that up for Lent. Stained glass and mini painting. Well, then do that instead. Good, because you thought I was just ribbing. Well, see, that's the thing about being funny is that people have to actually laugh. The audience has to actually laugh. You know, that's the thing about it. Well, I know Somo video reviews, those are great. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. The answer is because just haven't gotten back up to it. See, the thing was, is when I got up from that one, I kind of decided to fight a different fight. How's the tabletop going? It's going well. It's going okay, you know? But that's like my fight now. The tabletop game is not my fight. Because I liked the videos. I like doing them. Well, I liked parts of it. I liked parts of doing the videos. They were fun. But that did come a point where I was wondering whether or not I wanted to continue. And the answer was not now, I don't. That was the answer from a few years ago. It might change. Boy Harsher is my favorite band. Does my music taste suck? Well, let's take a look. Dun-dun. All right, gonna have to turn off the additional sounds so I can. Doesn't seem that bad. No, Boy Harsher seems okay. Oh, thank you, Victor. Thank you. I'm glad you liked the video, so why did you decide you need to come in and start shit? Yeah, refill my coffee. I will read whatever response you have when I get back.
Yes, son?
What does regret mean?
Well, son, a funny thing about regret is that it's better to regret something you have done than to regret something you haven't done. And by the way, if you see your mom this weekend, would you be sure and tell her,
Satan! Satan! Satan!
Oh, wow, we cleared the air there. That's right, Satan. Satan, he's that little voice inside you that tells you, say, fuck you, the people you hate. He is that little voice inside you that says, fuck no. He's that thing that you need in order to get through life, to get through an endless winter by having inside of you an invincible summer. The thing inside of you that gets mad when peace is taken too much away from you. Because there's a limit. Oh, yes, there's a limit. We're starting to get a little too close to it. Now, everyone who is anti-conservative be willing to back off. But the conservatives and the Christians themselves have got to back off. And to those who say, well, you should turn the other cheek, I have two things to say. One, we have. Time and again. Time and again. Time and again, the other cheek has been turned. And two, for the number of times that I've done it, I've seen very few good Christians do it. Because I'll be honest. I know there are good Christians out there. You just don't hear about them. Because they're the ones who do it. With no desire for recognition nor reward. They're the Christians who don't hate queers. That are bothered by the fact that noon on Sunday is the most segregated hour of American life. that are angered by a priest taking sides in a political argument rather than seeing to the needs of the entire flock. You troll Christians too? All right. See, I don't troll. I challenge. I think white Christians ought to ask for forgiveness for slavery. I think that they should repent for that. And that they should repent for the ongoing support of it. Instead of making excuses for what they know is wrong. No, your religion shouldn't give you a pass to be an asshole. Not even if you worship Satan. I think that should be fairly clear. How does one get the asshole pass? You don't. You don't. You expect that the other side has a right to retaliate. And this is why we have laws, so that the retaliation isn't allowed to go too far. Yeah, he's meowing out there. And even if you get the asshole pass somehow, that shit has an expiration date on it. You don't expect a pass. Why should we be the ones to humble ourselves? Why not? Isn't that what Jesus would have done? See, I don't follow in the way of Jesus, but I understood what he was getting at. I understood what he was getting at, and there are a few things that I really agree with. I'll tell you how cultures with multiple gods deal with it, because I've seen it. Very simple. They have their gods, you have yours. And everything's okay. Until you make it their business. You make it their business. And then you're going to start having problems. No, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Well, that says it right there, don't it? You're supposed to be your primary god. According to 10 Commandments that people like to put up in those schools. Where they say, thou shalt respect no other gods. It ain't in those 10 Commandments, I'll tell you that. No. And for that matter, since I brought up the 10 Commandments, let's take a look at them. Let's take a look at these motherfuckers. You know? Now we're obviously using like the English simplified English translation here. We'll go with those for now. Otherwise, we're gonna have to like really get into like the context of the Hebrew people, and that's gonna take longer than we got. It could be done. It could be done. They wrote a lot about it. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. That means you are supposed to revere him above all other gods, implying that there are other gods. Thou shalt not make idols. Okay. Well, in its most literal form, that means don't worship an image of God. Or rather, thou shalt not make an image of any God. And yet Jesus is often on that cross, you know. And also sounds very similar to something Muhammad said in the Quran. So I guess Christianity and Islam agree there. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Now that's more than just saying God damn. That's more than just saying Jesus Christ. God damn it, motherfucker. That is about using the name of your God in ways that he would not approve of, or in order to support a lie. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Well, that's it. Just remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Oh, but what about a doctor? Is being a doctor not holy work? If not, you're going to have to tell me how. And do me a favor, at least make it consistent with the other 9 rules. Honor your father and your mother. Just honor. Doesn't say you have to like them. You shall not murder. I can see why they say that. You shall not commit adultery. Well, unfortunately, that last bit there is a little broad. You know, that's why they keep putting all sorts of different things under the banner of adultery. Like sodomy is adultery. You know, sex out of wedlock is adultery. Cheating on your spouse is adultery. Which, yeah, I could see why you might want to make that one a rule. You shall not steal. Yeah, fair enough. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Don't lie. Don't lie or create a situation which by which a lie can be made against your neighbor. You shall not covet. Don't be envious. Always was a little annoyed at that one because being envious is very easy and natural. So what counts as covet? Yeah, they haven't really come up with a good answer for that one. Killing over it is clearly over the line. But we already got that you shall not murder, so obviously this is about something a little bigger. Hard to tell. You'd think there'd be a little bit more on that. Go into a little bit more detail, like, thou shalt not harm someone because you're envious of them. Or maybe do the Krishna thing and tell you why you don't have to covet. But that's all we got here. You know, well, now that we've done that, let's go with a slightly older translation. Maybe that'll clear a few things up. Maybe not, but we'll give it a try. All right, found one. It's even got a picture of Moses on it. Let's get this fucker up here. Make it a little bit bigger so you see it. All right. I, the Lord, am your God. You shall have no other gods besides me. Once again, thus just implying that there are other gods. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. We covered that. Remember to keep holy the Lord's day. Honor your father and your mother. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. Thou shalt not covet your neighbor's wife. Oh. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Seems to be a conflict. See, here we got, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Here we got, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. So which is it? Like one's a little bit more specific than the other. And it makes you wonder why it's necessary if we already got this don't commit adultery thing going on. You know? Seems a little odd. And then finally, you shall not covet your neighbor's goods. Ah. But wait. How is that different from stealing? How is that different from stealing? Is it? It must be, although because it bears special mention. So I could see why someone would change it to thou shalt not covet, but like at that point, what is coveting? It's like if it's not stealing, what is it? Is it any kind of harm that may come as a result of jealousy or envy? If so, why your neighbor's goods specifically? Seems a little odd. Covet is wanting it. Well, is it? Covet meaning in the Bible. Wish, long, or crave for something, especially the property of another person. So, why is that a commandment? I mean, I could tell you why you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it because it can diminish you. That's a good reason not to do it. Shouldn't do it because it puts you in the mental position of being less than. And that's not good. No, it doesn't say that. It just says don't do it. Well, how do you not do it? That's a natural condition of being around people. You know, why not thou shalt not lord your goods above others? Yeah, that sounds like a rule a rich person put in there. I don't want my stuff. That's coveting. That's bad. But me having stuff, that's like natural, man. That's just biology, man. That's just nature, man. And wanting shit isn't? Weird. Yeah, be thankful for what you have. Like, that would have been different enough. Give thanks for what you have. That would have been, that's a different way of saying that. It has a different meaning. You know, and is significantly different from thou shalt not steal. Ancient capitalist propaganda, comrade. Well, I think it is. I think it is. No. You know, I will, now, before I do the next thing, I want to make it clear that I don't have a problem with profit and gain in and of themselves. For those of us living in America, in the West, America especially, we have to operate within capitalism. It's something we're forced to do, whether we like it or not, by law. By law, we're forced to deal with it and forced to operate within it. I don't think that means it's good. But I think certain things do operate that way. It is a way to improve one's station. But I don't think socialism is evil. I honestly think that in healthy capitalism, that in a healthy culture, some things would be in the realm of capitalism and others would be in the realm of socialism. Because I think they each curve the other's excesses. There is a level below which we will not allow you to fall. But there is also an upper limit to how much more you can have than your neighbor. So in a way, I am both a capitalist and a socialist. And I try to walk that line every day. Because I do believe that everyone should get their piece of whatever pie they're working for. And that the upper should not be allowed to have so much more than those that work for them. But I do wish capitalists fucked around less with what capital is. Because that pisses me off. Because I'm like, well, that's just cheating. But here we go. Sing along if you know the words. Stand up, all victims of oppression, for the tyrants know your might. Don't cling so hard to your possessions, for you have nothing if you have no rights. Let racist ignorance be ended, for respect breaks the empire's fall. Privilege extended unless enjoyed by one and all. Though the struggle carries on, the Internationale unites the world in song. Time and place. Unites the human race.
Let no one build walls to divide us, walls of hatred nor
Walls of stone.
Come greet the dawn and stand beside us. We'll live together
Or we'll die alone.
in our world poisoned by exploitation. Those who have taken,
They must give.
and end the vanity of nations. We put one earth on
To live.
for the struggle carries on. The Internationale unites the world in song. So comrades, come rally, for this is the time and place. The international ideal unites the human
Race.
and so begins the final drama in the streets and in the fields. We stand unbound before their armor. We defy their guns and shields. When we fight, provoked by their aggression, let us be inspired by life and love. Although they offer us concessions, change will not come from above. So for the struggle carries on. The Internationale unites the world in song. So comrades, come rally, for this is the time and place. The
Yeah. Let's be clear. I think no communist country has reached that ideal. I feel it is very much fallen short. They have fallen short of that ideal as surely as the United States has fallen short of its own. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States. Excuse me. No, I don't need a paraphrase. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States. Okay. There we go. Does it actually say United States of America or just these United States? No, for the United States of America. All right. Not a lot in conflict with those two songs, really. Except that the U.S. Constitution is a bit more nationalistic. But I think a small level of nationalism can be forgiven. Yeah. The Quran got some good commandments too. Yeah, that is a good one. Do not come near the property of the orphan except to enhance it. Oh, unlimited power is always bad. It's self-destructive. And if everyone follows a man of unlimited power, guess what happens? A lot of people like to talk about, well, back in the days of kings, things were more stable. No, they weren't. No, they absolutely weren't. Did Game of Thrones teach you nothing? It's incredibly chaotic. The height of European feudalism was the Dark Age. That's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. The country cannot thrive under a king. It cannot thrive under an emperor. Because once you've exploited everything, well, you need more lands to exploit. So what do you do when you've conquered all the lands that you can conquer and can go no further? Well, the smart thing would be to curtail the power of the emperor. That would be the smart thing. China created the mandate of heaven. The idea that there were signs that the emperor had lost favor and was not fulfilling his heavenly duties. Europe had the divine right of kings. See the difference? One said that the emperor or king could indeed abuse their powers. Another said, well, that doesn't matter. Doesn't it? Doesn't it? That's why I say the Republicans having this level of power, no matter how much more power they may have, this is the end. This is the end for them. But I do not know what will replace it. America will clearly have no emperor again or no king again. Because you either cease to be the United States or we'll decide we don't want a king again. And that's when the real conflict starts. Whether it becomes murderous or not, that's when the real conflict starts. This is a battle. Oh, Jack, you forgot about Norton? Not really. Not really. He had the good people of San Francisco to curb his excesses. I would have been very worried about his successor, though. An emperor can be a good man, but empire is always corrupt. There's too much corruption that is inevitable in an empire. Oh, the Widow Norton. You know about the Widow Norton. Ah, thank you, Macedon. Thank you. For those of you who do not know, I shall introduce you to the Widow Norton. Jose Julio Sarria, born 1922. Also known as the Grand Mayor Absolute Empress Ida San Francisco and the Widow Norton, was an American political activist from San Francisco, California, who in 1961 became the first openly gay candidate for public office in these United States. He or she is also remembered for performing as a drag queen at the Black Cat Bar and as a founder of the Imperial Court system. Now there is some sort of cafe where the Black Cat Bar used to be. It shut down 1921 when it lost its dance permit. A dance permit. Ah, dance permit. What sort of bullshit is that? Dance permits. Bastards. And white people wonder why they feel like they have no culture. They'll sacrifice their own just to spite other people. That's not a culture. A culture that does not dance is not a culture. It is a gaping hole where a culture should be. But anyway, back to the Widow Norton. Sadly, she was taken away from us in 2013. But let's have a look at the Grand Mayor. For we do have colored photos of her. Some may say that these were in the declining years, but I disagree. I say she was in her prime. With the countenance of a demigod. Respect to the great Widow Norton. And she is buried, as is right, Next to Emperor Norton. The only king and queen of America I will ever accept. And if you ask why, well, I'll say this. In all important ways, it seems like the Emperor Norton availed himself well of his duties and kept the mandate of heaven. From the Emperor Norton Trust, here is the story of Emperor Norton. And his favorite stopping of violence against the people in Chinatown. Campaign discovers newspaper record of Emperor Norton's famous standoff with an anti-Chinese crowd. This byline says, no Lord's Prayer, no silencing of bigotry, but a courageous, heroic emperor all the same. Well, let's get into it. Several of the most oft-cited legends about Emperor Norton, including the undocumented claims that he penned a proclamation against the use of the word Frisco, and that he called for the raising of a great Christmas tree in Union Square, can be traced to a little booklet, San Francisco's Emperor Norton, self-published in 1939 by David Warren Ryder. Another tale that appears to have its origins in this volume envisions a dramatic encounter in which the emperor interrupted anti-Chinese gathering, recited the Lord's Prayer until the crowd, shamed into quietude, dispersed. Here is how Ryder tells it. One evening, Emperor Norton was out taking his customary after-supper stroll, accompanied by his two faithful hounds, Bummer and Lazarus. When at the corner of Kearny and California Street, which is like a block right before Chinatown starts, he came upon a typical Sandlot anti-Chinese meeting. At the moment the emperor arrived, the speaker was at the height of his passionate harangue, and the young hoodlums who made up a large part of his audience were cheering him on and voicing their own imprecations of the Chinese. The emperor took in the situation immediately and immediately went into action. Shouldering his way through the crowd up to the big packing case, which was serving as a rostrum, he held up his hand for silence. The speaker, whether momentarily nonplussed by such an unprecedented interruption or because he thought that a bit of drollery might not go amiss with the audience, stopped his harangue and announcing that we will now have a few words from His Imperial Majesty Emperor Norton I, Emperor of America, invited the emperor to mount the packing case. There was a roar of laughter from the crowd as Emperor Norton, with some difficulty, got up on the big box, but the laughter was short-lived. The emperor, steadying himself with his heavy cane, closed his eyes and commenced reciting the Lord's Prayer. Even the hoodlums were silent, and when he asked the audience to repeat the prayer with him, some of them joined in. For a moment or two after the final amen, the emperor stood silent before a hushed audience. Then he made a little speech of his own about the virtue of brotherly love and the necessity of men living amicably together. Meanwhile, the Sandlot orator, sensing the changed temper of the crowd, had come down from his rostrum and slipped away. And when the emperor ended with the declaration that we are all God's children, and requested the crowd to disperse, it did so quickly and without dissent. There were no windows broken in San Francisco's Chinatown that night. Subsequent generations have embellished Writer's Tale. In later versions, which have become the standard telling, the emperor goes so far as to place himself bodily between a violent mob and its Chinese targets, quelling a riot in progress with his prayer. Neither writer nor those who, for generations, have repeated and built upon Writer's legend provide a date or documentation for this claim. The Emperor's Bridge campaign's research into this legend finally has borne some evidentiary fruit. Indeed, we believe we have found the first document that stands to lift key elements of the Lord's Prayer story out of the realm of legend and into the realm of history. We are pleased to share it below. If, as seems likely, an incident reported in the San Francisco Examiner on Tuesday, 30th of April, 1878, is the basis for Writer's romanticized account, then what actually happened is both less and, in certain respects, more heroic than has been understood. The incident involving Emperor Norton is detailed towards the top of the article. About a 3.5-hour speech-filled meeting that took place on Monday, 29th of April, 1878, at the Sandlot, a site, you're killing me, Smalls, a site across from the old City Hall, at the southwest corner of 8th and Market, across Grove Street from the current main library. That, in the 1870s, became a well-known venue for anti-Chinese gatherings. The meeting had been called in an effort to iron out differences between the factions of the Working Men's Party of California. This group was co-founded by Dennis Kearney, 1847 to 1907, the demagogic Irish-born orator who, for a time, used the party as a power base, and those whose vitriolic speeches inciting prejudice, racism, hatred, and violence against the Chinese always ended with the exclamation, "The Chinese must go." Kearney is the other protagonist in the incident described here. Protagonist sounds like a villain. And there's a facsimile copy of the article, but it is repeated down here. The hare still to be caught. Disregarding the counsel of Mrs. Glaze, the Kearneyites quarrel over anticipated spoils. Yesterday at the Sandlots, there was a very large attendance as it was anticipated that the feud between the leaders, which had burst out on Saturday night at the meeting of the State Central Committee, would be reopened and the meeting called upon to decide between the contestants. The expectation was verified and Kearney came off victor. The scene yesterday was somewhat more inviting than usual. The handsome American flag presented by the ladies was unfurled and floated gaily over the speaker's stand, while in front seated a considerable number of ladies. Ew. Ladies. The fun commenced by Emperor Norton I mounting a bench and by virtue of his sovereign authority commanding the dispersion of the assemblage. He was ordered by Dennis Kearney to step down, but declined to do so, denying the authority of the general to direct his movements. The authority of the general being sustained by the assemblage, the emperor subsided. Then Kearney described the differences existing between him and some of the members of the committee, and after asking the meeting to decide between them, promised to abide by the decision, whatever it might be. As the Examiner reports it, Emperor Norton did not happen upon a riot. He did not say the Lord's Prayer, and ultimately he did not prevail. But here is where the history is better than the legend. 1. The emperor had his ear to the ground and his eye on the papers well enough to know where the party meeting was to take place, got there early to try to prevent anti-Chinese rhetoric and organizing before it ever started. The emperor personally and directly challenged the authority of ringleader Dennis Kearney to his face and in front of hundreds of Kearney's supporters. That is a big deal. One reason that the Lord's Prayer legend has received little scrutiny may be that Emperor Norton's other efforts on behalf of the Chinese are well documented and well known. By 1878, the emperor had been publishing proclamations recognizing the basic human rights of the Chinese, decrying violence against them, advocating fair treatment for them, promoting legal equality for them for a decade. This goes to a larger point about those undocumented stories about Emperor Norton that are best understood as legends. Those of us who take the emperor's legacy seriously do have an obligation to look under the hood of these legends, to research them in an effort to determine their veracity and to be honest with ourselves and the public about what is known and what isn't. We shouldn't be in the business of passing off possible legends as empirical history. At the same time, veracity can mean at least a couple of different things. Sometimes a legend turns out to be nothing more than a tale, a yarn, but sometimes a legend, even an elaboratory concocted tales like the ones by David Warren Ryder 60 years after the emperor's death, rises to the level of myth. A myth is not empirically true in its particulars, but it's a story that illustrates a larger truth, and thus it is, in a different sense, true. Did Emperor Norton inveigh against the use of the word Frisco and exact a $25 penalty for transgressions? Evidently not. But he did love his adopted city and was eulogized in the papers as someone who, like others of his time, called San Francisco the Queen of the Pacific. Did the emperor call for a great Christmas tree in Union Square? Evidently not, but he did love children and was known and remembered as something of a Santa Claus figure. So it's not necessarily that one has to choose between the legend of Emperor Norton and the history, between the folklore and facts, but it is important to keep the line between the two bright and clear, so as to be able to maintain the focus not on the legends themselves, but on what the legends reveal about the history. Being a good steward of the emperor's legacy requires the legends correctly within the larger Norton narrative, enabling them to say what they say, but not more than they say. Sometimes the real meaning and power of those stories is not literal, but figurative. Not above the text, but below. And there is more, but it goes on for a while. It goes on for a while. That is from the EmperorNortonTrust.org website. That has much information about Emperor Norton. What a tale, eh? What a tale. Kind of goes to show that old Colossus in Deadpool was right. Only takes a few moments to be a hero. Only a few moments. And to me, that feels about right. Look into any hero, you will find flaws. But you want to look at their virtues and their flaws to get a good gauge of them. And that can become hard. Because sometimes a person's flaws are so replete. You wonder if their virtues have any merit. It's difficult to balance. Some people say, well, should we separate the art from the artist? And my answer has always been, depends on where you put the separation. Or if indeed you can at all. With some artists you can't. Some artists you can't, because the thing that makes them odious is evident within the art itself. Because the art doesn't lie. Art doesn't lie. Oh, Trump is not an artist. No. We call him a con artist because we don't know what else to fucking call that, but it's not art. It's not art. It's not. But the big one I always think of when it's like, can we separate the art from the artist? That not whether or not we should, but whether or not it can even be done is the first question. And my two big examples have always been Mel Gibson and I have a hard time remembering his name these days, and I don't know why. Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski and Mel Gibson are the two examples that I always bring up. What's the problem with Mel Gibson? You can't separate it. You can't separate it. Anti-Semitism is too much. Anti-Semitism and white supremacy are too evident in his work as a director. It's too evident. It's way too evident. And there's nothing cushioning, and there's nothing separating it from the art. It's either exactly what the art is about, or it is the part of the art that is like a sour note. Feels like an error. Like, why would you do this? Except to shoehorn in a white supremacist, pro-imperial fucking aspect to the story where there wasn't one before. You ever seen that Apocalypto? Up until literally the last 3 minutes, that movie is excellent. Then all of a sudden the Spanish arrive. Because, you know, like, that's the apocalypse. And I'm like, I thought these were the Mayans. Like, if you wanted to talk about an apocalypse of biblical proportions, you would have specifically made it the Aztecs. Where the myth of that story at least has taken hold. Motherfucker's about 150 years off. And you're like, well, it must be Mayan because, like, he went to such great extents to make it Mayan. You would have had an easier time making it Aztec. And I'm not joking, by the way. We actually know quite a lot about the Aztecs compared to the Mayans. Like a lot. We know how their cities were built and shit. We knew how their government worked. We knew what they did during the day. We even now know why the Amazon basin is the way it is. And the answer is because it was agricultural territory. That's why in the Amazon, there are these weird parts of the Amazon where only certain flowers grow. And you're like, what the fuck? And they're in these neat square patterns. And it turns out it's because over the course of, like, what, 300-400 years? The agricultural area of the Aztecs was just allowed to do whatever. And it became the rainforest. That's wild. That's wild. But yeah, he had to insert Christianity into the story of Mayan people, which, I mean, the Mayans were kind of around. But, like, if the Spanish are arriving, that means Montezuma is the emperor. What? So I always hated that. You know, it's one of those, if it's this close to Spanish colonialization, it's the Aztecs, not the Mayans, that are the big civilization. The Mayans are in massive decline. And to be fair, so are the Aztecs. But the Aztecs had, like, you know, cities. They weren't people fucking climbing on top of vine-covered pyramids. And we know that. We know that, and that came later. That came after the Spanish conquest. Because we're just shipping shit back to Spain all the time. And they're like, oh, ghost town, who gives a shit? No, let's just make it really early Mayan so we can make all the fucking South American people look like savages. Which, like I said, like, what? What? RLM is like, oh shit, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Because everything in the movie seems to be leading up to the establishment of the Aztec Empire. The early days of the Aztec Empire, before they switched from the worship of Tezcatlipoca to the worship of Quetzalcoatl, which we know was a few hundred years before the Spanish arrived. Because otherwise, the vision that the main character would have been seeing would not have been a jaguar. It would have been a feathered serpent. And even then, that would have been too early. The worship of Quetzalcoatl was thoroughly established, as was the Aztec Empire by the time that started. It had been established for several generations. You know, at least 150 years. And I know that city is not Tenochtitlan because it ain't in the middle of a lake. Which Tenochtitlan famously was. It was built in the middle of a fucking lake. And here's the other thing. We know that because it was well documented, because today Tenochtitlan is Mexico City. And you look at the history of Mexico City, it is indeed built on top of a lake. A pretty big one. That's why you're not supposed to drink the water, by the way. That's why it's so filled with shit that, like, the water's so filled with things that if you're not native to Mexico, your digestive system can't handle. Who's the biggest asshole in American history that people still think is a hero? Christopher Columbus, George Washington, or General Custer, and why? If we're talking about the biggest asshole, that's going to be Andrew Jackson. That's going to be Andrew Jackson. He was the biggest asshole. Well, until we get to Trump. I think Trump's the biggest asshole. But if we're talking about, like, before the 21st century, Andrew Jackson. Yeah, Three Caballeros. They weren't lying. That movie wasn't lying. Well, to me, the usage of the word asshole is more like the Yiddish word schmuck. You know, Andrew Jackson was a schmuck. Woodrow Wilson was a putz. Oh, Reagan was definitely a big asshole. But Andrew Jackson was a bigger asshole. But don't worry, Reagan's in the top 5. I've never actually rated them, but I guarantee he's top 5, probably top 3. How come you don't really know much about Andrew Jackson? Oh, because he did horrible shit. Trail of Tears, that was him. The going back on, like, treaties with the native people, that was Andrew Jackson. Who's a 20th century asshole? Well, if we're talking about presidents, the biggest asshole would be Nixon. Like, he would be America's second biggest asshole. Definitely the second biggest schmuck. And then after that, Reagan. Quickly after that, Reagan. Because Reagan was only really able to be the asshole that he was because of Nixon. So Nixon edges him out. You know, but if we're talking up to the current day, Trump, the biggest asshole. Because while the others were dicks, they weren't traitors. They had a very, very small mind when it came to who the American people were. But the American people were still the most important to them. Whatever they thought that was, they were the most important to them. Trump is a flat-out traitor. Whether it's legal or not, he is, by all classical definitions, a traitor. So he wins. Oh, well, if we're talking about all politicians, I'd have to look into it. I was just going with presidents. That's a good point. I was just going with presidents there. Because then I have to include like guys like Kissinger. Who is American history, one of American history's greatest monsters. Pat Robertson's definitely in the running. If we add non-presidents. Barry Goldwater would, he probably wouldn't be the top 5, but he'd be in the top 10. Do I think this election will be close? Yes. And that's not good news. That's not good news. It will either, the thing is this, it will either be a razor thin margin or a blowout. And the blowout can only happen if it's Biden. The blowout can only happen if Biden wins. It won't be a blowout if Trump wins. Hell, it might not. He might not even technically win. It'll probably be an electoral college fucking decision. McConnell is definitely one of the biggest fucking assholes of 21st century American politics. Yeah, Newt Gingrich would be in there too. He'd definitely be like top 20. Piece of shit. Newt Gingrich is such a piece of shit. He's the architect of the current Republican the way the current Republican Party works. He's the architect. Him and Karl Rove are the architects of Republicans do not attack each other, which has allowed them to fucking filibuster anything. These power blocks in legislature have to be dismantled because it's ridiculous. I don't want my side to have all that power because I know it'll inevitably lead to corruption. And unfortunately, now is not the time to worry too much about that. Don't worry, it will be soon. After the election, it will be time. It will absolutely be time, no matter who wins. Oh, the guy who made those chick tracks also be in there. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying he isn't an asshole. He clearly is. Top 5, top 20, I don't know. Maybe in the top 100. Why haven't we built a guillotine yet? Because ultimately we don't want violence. That's why. That's why the conservatives built a guillotine and we didn't. Because we don't see violence as a lasting solution. Not really. Not really. Like I said, this is going to be the conservatives' last move. I just don't know how long it'll take for another real move to be made. It could be a while. Comes down to the rich, the 1%. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a major factor. That's a major factor. And they own all our information outlets. All of them, including this one. Would I ever commission parody comics of chick tracks? Oh, I could see myself doing that easily. Keith David voicing saying, excellent. Excellent choice. He's got that cool voice, you know. These little people living in 20th century economics wanting to be what's his face with the Donkey Kong high score. Yeah, I know. I know, right? Oh, what was it? Yeah, what was that guy's name? Like Billy something or other? Like that guy was always a schmuck. You know, that guy's a schmuck. Sometimes he's a putz too. Such an entitled little shitbag. No, you don't deserve the high score unless you got it. Guy comes along and beats you, he deserves it. It's a high score, you piece of shit. And if you deserve the high score, how come you can't get it in competition? Huh? Are you ready to RPG? Oh, yeah, I've seen that thing. I love that thing. Aren't most entitled people shitbags? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The entitled is the absolute examples of shitbaggery and douche canoery. They are fucking used and dusty dildos that have been shoved to the back of the drawer because they couldn't get the job done. What are my thoughts on Operation Paperclip with America? Was America right in doing that since the Russians were doing their own version of it? Morally, I don't think there's any case that can be made for it being right. Not morally. Necessary, maybe. Necessary, maybe. Yeah, MH. Well, the problem is today we live in investor-driven economics, which is even worse. Because in order for the economic system of America to work now, the people with the most power are the investors, are the investor class. They have the most power, period. You know, in terms of economic power, it's the investor class. They determine what gets made and what doesn't. They're the ones that hold all the means of production. They control where the money goes. They control what direction the money goes in and where it doesn't go in. And they're allowed to. And the thing that's so aggravating about it is they're not even robber barons. They are the trust fund bunnies of the robber barons. Because everything they have, they've been given. They have convinced people to give it to them. That's why some of them turn into these cult-like figures, because that's the way it works. That's why Elon Musk is a cult figure. People talk about Nazi scientists being brought over, and talks about the American gay Japanese medical experiment. Oh, yeah. That happened too. That absolutely happened. Yeah, the Japanese did some truly heinous shit. Like, they out-mangled Mangala. Just in terms of, like, abject cruelty in the name of medicine. Like, they out-mangled Mangala. Mangala was a fucking putz in comparison. You know, he got all the press, though. You know, but that's one of the things. That's one of the things. Like, Germany, when you look about it, the Reich, when you look at it, actually was not that effective a war machine. Not for what it was trying to do. The reason they got as far as they did is because people just, they basically surrendered quickly. But anyone who put up a fight They either fucking surrendered in the first, like, year, or they were never conquered. And the resistance movements against them were actually quite powerful, were actually quite potent. You know, the French had direct sabotage that they used. They used open and direct sabotage. The Polish were sneakier. They used stealth. They used stealth tactics. The French were loud. You know, like, they blew shit the fuck up. Not that the Polish didn't. But they weren't quite. The French did it to make a statement. And they were pretty good at it. The Polish were really good at cutting an Achilles tendon. For example, the French would blow up factories, buildings, things like that. The Poles blew up trains. I mean, technically, they both did both. But their effectiveness, where they were most effective, was different. The French were most effective at putting up a visible resistance. The Poles were the death of 1,000 cuts. So we can get a good shot at the nerve center. Poles are arguably one of the reasons that the German fight against the fucking Russians didn't go so well. Quite arguably, they had a huge hand in that. Because they would blow up supply lines. I mean, at the critical point, at the critical choke point between Russia and the rest of Europe. Because it's right there. It's right there in Poland. Poland was it, baby. It still is. And they have a fantastic history of just basically fucking off whoever says that they're in charge of Poland. That isn't, Polish. They have a fantastic history of that. Fucking Russians came in, they fucked them up and prevented them from advancing too far into Western Europe. Germany, they fucked them up, kept them from advancing too far into Eastern Europe. Poland's badass. Yeah, Scandinavians and snipers became the boogeyman of the Nazis. because they couldn't figure out how they were doing it. Couldn't figure out how they were doing it. Oh my God. Where are these snipers coming from? They're looking at all the high places. They didn't realize it was ski patrolling. Because it turns out Scandinavians are good at skiing. Poles did it too. Yeah, Americans like to talk about French cowardice, but like the reality is that, dude, the French were badasses in World War II. The French resistance was badass. You know, they couldn't hold the line. They were already on the other side of it. But they could bomb the shit out of things. Psyops and sabotage. That was France's big thing. Psyops, sabotage, and moving refugees. Stereotype of the Asians having small dicks because white men were being cucked by Filipino lover boys, so they spread rumors. Really? Give me some stuff on that, because like I never heard that. Because I never heard that. And if that's part of where that comes from, I want to read about it. Told us we had little dicks because we was just better at fucking. That's an old white fear, too. That's an old white people fear, by the way. That they are terrible in bed because, yeah. You know, and to be fair, it's because the culture is so focused on colonialism. It doesn't even see sex as a method of integration. Just a lessening of the blood. There's no tradition of passing down the arts of love and sex in white culture. There really isn't. What little we have is done mainly through music. And even then, it's like, tends to be really watered down, and people get really, really fucking angry when it's fucking overt, when it just directly talks about it. You know? Case in point.
I said certified free, 7 days a week, wet and gushy, make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, 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 you dealing with some wet and gushy. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet and gushy. Give me everything you got for this wet and gushy. Beat it up, baby, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this cookie right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top.
Yeah. They get bent ass shape when you talk about it. More so than a lot of other cultures. Yes, the radio edit, unfortunately. That was the one I clicked on because it was the one that was closest to the fucking cursor. I didn't even think about it. You know? Yeah, Puritans don't make for good lovers. You know, neither do Christians. Because it's a religion that says nothing about sex except to don't do it until you're married. Like, that's it. That's what it says. You got a fucking culture that's all they say about sex. That's not going to go well. You know, you're not going to be good at it. Information's not even there to be seen. Yeah, oh no, that song is the end of Western civilization. Well, it ain't fucking... Well, it's Western civilization's fault for not fucking dealing with sex honestly. Like, that shit is... That shit is so fucked up. How does it not see sex as integration? Oh, simple. It vilifies the mudblood of conquest, yes. It'll use rape as a method of conquest and terror, but not of integration. You know, because those people are not like you. They're not people, they're animals. You know, that kind of bullshit. Yeah, the Puritans were freaks, but that doesn't mean they were, you know, good in the sack. You know, there is actually a difference. You know, because I'll be honest, because in order to be any decent in the art of love, you kind of have to fucking put aside everything that Western civilization tells you is masculinity. And as a woman, you have to put aside everything which is considered proper for a woman to do. Christianity made you fat and ugly. Probably did. I mean, you know. We probably shouldn't talk about yourself that way, you know. Probably unnecessary. Yeah, Ben Shapiro opened his stupid mouth. And that's what I mean. That's what I was talking about. But like, these people will do whatever their big donators tell them to say. You know, they will say the most ridiculous shit. You know, people who say ridiculous things are absolutely invaluable in Washington, D.C. They're absolutely invaluable politically because they will say stupid things. Well, here's the thing that's so funny when we talk about erotic proficiency. The other chuds and pick-me's will, of course, tell men like that. Oh, no, 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 no. You're right. No, no, no. They're wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong. But they all know. They all know. No one has to be told when they come. You know, that's the equivalent of, are we having fun yet? You know? And that's why Zippy said that, because it's an absolutely absurd statement. Are we having fun yet? You know, because like, why wouldn't you know that? Oh, actually, it was, am I having fun yet? Are we having fun yet is more sarcastic. You know, but yeah. Yeah, the fool wants to bring back anti-miscegenation laws. Oh, and that's why they'll get rid of fertility clinics, by the way. That's why they actually don't care about fertility clinics. Well, it's not my sperm. That's all I care about. I care about my sperm. Does it count as miscegenation if you're a woman fucking a woman? Yep. Yeah, it does. Because it's the same threat. Someone could do it better than you do. You know? Body just tells you. The body just tells you certain things. You know. It doesn't help, but it's also not fucking surprising that in terms of who's better in bed, like, white guys are pretty much the bottom of the list. as a group. There are exceptions, and I hope that you are among them. Yep, sex toys are a health hazard. Anything to get those fucking Karens up in arms. The white Christian women are all for you punishing the people they're jealous of. Those black women, they think their tits and asses are too big. Animals, they'll say. Fuck that. Nah, you jealous. Shut the fuck up. They got something you don't have. Oh, well, by the way, sometimes the Ten Commandments tell you to stop coveting shit. I don't get it. I don't get it. Turns out according to this article, straight women are having the worst sex out there. Well, duh. You notice something, and this is a patriarchal problem. They'll say women get the worst sex, but they won't say what classification of women is worst at it. Because everything is so male focused, no one asks. Because you wouldn't want to encourage them, now would you? And maybe we men are part of the problem because maybe our expectations are just too low. Never ask the question. Never even ask the question. All kinds of articles about which men are worst in bed. Yeah. There are large groups of straight white women who just kind of lay there. Yeah, I've run into it. It ain't fun. Yeah, there are women out there who can't fuck. I've 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 experienced it. I've experienced it. Mm, that's why I knew early on, like back in high school. I I didn't want what they called a trad wife these days. Fuck that. The hell with that. What? What a joke. That's why so many trad husbands fucking hire whores. That's why they hire sex workers. You know? What can I tell you? What can I tell you? It's huh. It's odd, man. It's very, very, very odd. You know, I mean, it all makes sense, right? But still, damn. Yeah, porn creates a lot of bad ideas about sex. Mainstream culture does not allow for positive representation of sex, dismissing it as porn like everything else. Yeah, right? Because that's the thing they really don't like. That's the thing they really don't like. Sex being anything other than a dirty, fucking, shameful secret or necessity. Oh, yeah. White women going, you're only with her because you want some weak, submissive Asian. All right. First of all, clearly that bitch knows no Asian people. Good tell you. Now, I've never dated an Asian woman, to be clear. But I've watched a lot of Asian women date. And I'm just going to tell you right now, she going to boss you the fuck around. Will hugging be outlawed next? Oh, no, 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 no. But holding hands in public for certain people will. There are a couple of steps before they get to hugging as a problem. Do you think pedophile witch hunters complicate the sexual discussion? Or pedos in general? Yes. Yeah, both. Both complicate the issue. Both complicate the issue because they bring in the most misinformation. Tin Man's like, as an Asian man with an Asian sister-in-law, I can attest to seeing this firsthand. Yeah. See, the problem is Western people put submissive and polite in the same category. No. The polite can be the most vicious. The word most American men are the most afraid of saying is cunt. Why? Because their mothers and moms will get mad. So right from the beginning, we got a problem. We got a problem with communicating with and criticizing. But also saying you shouldn't say bad things about women is also a way of saying you shouldn't talk about women. Is the dog wagging the tail or the flea wagging the tail when it comes to grooming? The dog is wagging its own tail. The tail is wagging the dog. The tail is wagging the dog when it comes to the groomer discussion right now. Yeah, Brits have no problem saying cunt. American women do. And by extension, American men do. Because, like, not saying cunt means you're not misogynist, right? You know, or some fucking stupid idea like that. I'm good. I don't say cunt. Who gives a shit? I respect women. I don't say cunt. Dude. Neither is any man who speaks in a foreign language. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. Oedipus complex a bit? Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Best way of dealing with an Oedipal complex is just get over yourself. Just get over yourself. Yeah, but like we have a lot of like there are a lot of places that place a heavy taboo against that word. I mean, obviously that's not here. Yeah. England uses cunt the way America kind of uses fuck. It's a stand-in for almost any other word or phrase or emotion. You know, it's like he wasn't the only guy that said this, but Stan Lee has a great bit on the word fuck.
From when I was 19 years old till I was 28, I got the chance to work with Stan Lee. He was the best. This is a real recording from one of my favorite memories of the old man. I'm rolling.
I don't say it because I don't say dirty words, but it seems to me that that so-called dirty word is probably the most useful word in the English language, because it could be a verb, it could be a noun, it could be anything. Say, that fucking thing, that's no good, you know? Or you can say, fuck you, that makes it a verb, right? And no matter how there's no sentence where you couldn't use it to great advantage. And I'm going to start a movement. I want to legalize and legitimize the word fuck. One of the great words in any language.
I think we just need an Excelsior.
Excelsior! No, that's not good. Excelsior! Fucking fantastic. You get that fist up in the air, you weren't looking. Your head was down. I want your head up when I throw my fist in the air. I want you paying attention. I don't want you looking there when I'm emoting. Jesus. What the fuck's going on here? What the fuck are you all standing around for? Shit. Fuck you.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah, fuck is a great thing you could add to any sentence. It's fucking amazing. All right. So, I think I should probably sign off. I hope that I've taken you from a journey, from a dark place, to a place where you could see some light at the end of the tunnel. At least for now. I hope I've done that. For Satan is the way, Lucifer is the light. So hopefully we have not left you in the cold, cold dark. Anyway. Good night, everybody. And until next time, I should be on Twitch tomorrow at 7. And until then, Ave Satanas, Disco Inferno. And remember, Satan and I love you all very much. You take care. All right.